Okay, I think we're good. Do you want? I guess I'll start off.
You're the one to do this, so.
Welcome everyone, and good evening to I forgot what the name of the video series is called. Two Tired Reviews. Please welcome my eternal co-host who's attempting to eat food, the bald one.
Oh.
Today we decided to review, I guess this 2-month interval, we decided to review the Escape From films. Thank you, Miss White, or Vanna, whatever he calls her, because we had many plans, we had many ideas, but we wanted to do something fun that we would enjoy, because I think we both enjoy these films to different extents, to some extent. Like, you fucking retard. And we have a good time with them. So we wanted to discuss some films. I think I'll. Do you want to start off with introducing Escape from New York? What do you think?
I'm sorry, I'm eating stuff with some protein in it because I'm getting the shakes. Anyways, so Escape from New York. What do we want to start with here?
Well, tell us about the film, Jay.
So Escape from New York stars what's his name? It's Snake Plissken.
Kurt Russell.
And
Solid Snake.
Solid Snake. And he's basically he's like a war hero. Then he's turned to a war criminal because he did something stupid. And now they're like, we'll give you a chance to redeem yourself and do this and then we're free. Yeah.
That's like if you asked drunk me to explain the plot.
And anyways, he has to go into New York to save the president, which was flying over and crashed.
Because New York's like a prison city now.
Yes.
I think most people are decently familiar with Escape from New York.
Relatively so.
Like, it's a cult film, but it's still like a really well-known cult film. Because John Carpenter is like a cult director. Yeah. But he's still like fairly well-known, I think.
It sounds like you're incriminating him as like he's a cult director.
He's a cult.
Like,
he directs films for the cults, of course. I know all these things. I was there with them. I think the best way to describe it is like possibly the most 80s movie I've ever seen in my life. Except for like RoboCop. RoboCop or Commando. I would say one of the two.
Those two are definitely our peak 80s.
Oh yeah, extremely 80s. Extremely 80s. But this one, we discussed this while we were watching, isn't as much of an action film, and I forget this every single time I watch this.
Yeah.
But no, you're right. This isn't really like a ton of action. Like,
no, it isn't. There's a...
It's a mood piece movie, kind of.
Basically, yeah.
I'd call it like a mood piece movie, but that's not a genre. That's not something you would call a film. So like, it's just.
Well, like, you know what we just did.
Okay, there we go. We've invented a new genre. Thank you very much. The end. But but like, because there's really not that much action. There's like an opening sort of hijacking with the president.
A couple people get punched, things like that.
Yeah,
happen.
There's a
Snake punches some guys when he first gets there and such.
There's a spiked bat fight, but mostly it's just kind of walking around post-apocalyptic New York, which is just how New York looked at the time. Because that's kind of the thing that makes the film like believable. Because these days that's kind of like silly that they would choose like New York, because New York is like a nice city mostly. That they would be like, yeah. That they would be like,
it was 80s New York.
That like these days, walling off New York and putting all the prisoners there is like, what the fuck are you doing? It's New York, like. But that,
hey, what the fuck you think you're doing?
Exactly. But all the rich people weren't there yet. There were some, but they weren't there yet.
Yeah.
But it was a nasty, nasty city before it finally got cleaned up in like the late 80s, early 90s. So you have these scenes where Snake's just wandering around what looks literally like the post-apocalypse, and it's just regular New York. Yeah. They set like a trash barrel on fire, they stack some cars, and they're like, okay, good to go. We're good.
We were gonna stack some cars, but these ones were already stacked.
There was already crazy people here, but we...
The crazies.
Yes, the crazies, the inspiration for every Mad Max...
lowercase kind of thing?
Every kind of like post-apocalyptic, grungy... what's the word? There's a term I've heard in splatterpunks. Splatterpunk is the weird term I've heard for that sort of character where they're like animalistic and they just kind of rove around the streets and they sort of shuffle. They're like doing this. They walk like they're
less human, more animal.
Yeah.
Return to monkey.
They were doing that before it was cool.
Yes.
They were doing that before it was cool. But yeah, it's just a movie where they just kind of go around and things kind of happen, but things don't happen. Like objectively speaking, it's a lot of times it's kind of boring. I think someone could. I think like if you showed this to like a kid today, like
they would not be interested.
Like even like a teenager, here's an action movie from back in the day.
Maybe if they're hipster style or something like that, basically.
Like if you were a hipster teenager, that would make sense. Yeah, like I was, like me, but like a modern teenager, like someone who's watched like the Avengers movies with the constant action and CGI, and be like, what is this?
Yeah, no, I get that.
What's happening? Why are they just walking around? Who's this lady with the giant tits? Like, they would be interested with the lady with the giant tits. Like I said, it's mostly a mood piece movie. It's almost a comedy too, because we mentioned this during the recording. I can't remember where the fuck I heard it, but someone described this movie as a movie that winks at you, but you can't see it because it's behind an eye patch.
Yeah, basically.
And so it's kind of like the fact the main character's name is Snake Plissken. And
that is the most 80s name ever.
And he wears an eye patch, and he has like the cool coiffed hair, and he's got the cool beard and the cool jacket, and he has like a big gun that's just a regular Mac 10.
Yeah, we figured that it was just a Mac 10 little micro Uzi kind of thing like that with a big fucking barrel attached to it.
You can kind of notice it too in like certain shots. It looks totally different in color. Like it's like a piece of plastic attached to this like model gun or whatever. But like, yeah, it's ridiculously goofy and it's super low budget. Like I don't know what the budget is. I'm not looking.
As most cult hits usually are.
Like it's very much a B movie.
Oh yeah.
It is 110% a B movie. But yeah, no, it very cheap. There's like 2 explosions, mostly just people punching each other.
Yeah.
Like the most expensive stuff was probably like the couple explosions there are in the film.
The stunts are good. Shout out to our stunt coordinator, Dick Warlock.
Dick Warlock. We were very excited to see Dick Warlock in the credits.
Yes.
Unfortunately, he didn't return for the second film.
No, we'll get into that.
I don't know what happened to Dick Warlock, but I assume he was integral to making the first film what it was.
I was gonna say he had the good taste not to.
He realized what it was and left.
It's like, oh, no.
John Carpenter personally came to his house and said, Lord Warlock.
Lord Warlock, please come and direct our stunt.
Please come and help our stunt work. He said, no, I'm retired from that now, and besides, you're making Escape from L.A. Yeah, it is such an intensely goofy film, but it like pretends it's not. It takes itself 110% seriously.
There's a fairly good B-level cast to it, too.
Oh, yeah, there's, well, firstly, Kurt Russell.
Kurt Russell, Isaac Hayes.
Kind of B-lister. Yeah. Isaac Hayes.
Ernest
Borgnine.
Fucking the
I was gonna say Jackie Earle Haley, but that's not it.
No.
Adrienne Barbeau was in some stuff in the 70s. Harry Dean Stanton, that's something.
That's the other, yeah.
No, it's like a consistent running cast of like solid B-movie actors, and they're fantastic. Like everybody, I don't think there's a single. Oh, Donald Pleasance. I forgot Donald Pleasance is the president, who's doing.
Oh yeah.
Who's doing a fake
British
Southern
man
accent.
doing the president of the United States.
A British man doing the president. I haven't seen that since Kennedy. It was a movie.
Had a good ending, action ending, very much so. It got the whole, it's supposed to be the edge of your seat kind of thing.
Yeah, because the big stake is that Snake's gonna get blown up in his arteries, but then like if he doesn't get back in time, but there's also like the bigger thing where there's like World War III is probably gonna break out.
Yeah, then, if the president doesn't get to address things.
Yeah, but then the president was an asshole, so Snake said, "Fuck that guy. World War III can break out. I don't give a shit." And then presumably maybe it happened. Escape from LA doesn't really address that.
Not really. Mind you, the shit shape it's in...
It might have happened.
Who knows?
It would make sense. It would connect, sort of, maybe.
The president's a dickhead, but I like him for one part. And that's the part, it is. There is right as they're escaping. Should we do a spoiler alert on this?
Full spoilers. We'll always do full spoilers.
Okay. Is when they're escaping there and Snake's being pulled up the wall, he literally stops Snake halfway up the wall to use him as a target as a target for Isaac Hayes' character to use. Just to keep him out in the open so the president himself can just gun him down.
Everyone's kind of a bit of a dick in the movie. Ernest Borgnine runs. He's a little bit cowardly.
This is why I'll bring up after we do our LA one there too, because I came up with that. We came up with that. A few thoughts on that. So.
Ernest Borgnine, yeah, he runs away, and he's like, "Oh man, I'm running away." He's a cabbie and armed with Molotov cocktails. And then Brain and Tits Lady, whose name I don't remember.
I don't
What
either.
the fuck is her character's name? I
do not remember.
Adrienne Barbeau. They betray Snake constantly. They're like, I don't like trusting you, not trusting you, back and forth. Now
to the point where she doesn't even fully trust Brain until
nobody trusts anybody. It's not like a family adventure film.
Oh God, no.
This is like, I don't know what the fuck the rating is. Let me see on here. R. They're both rated R.
Yeah.
I feel like this could almost be PG-13.
This one well, there was tits in that one scene.
I was gonna say, if it weren't for the fact that there's a random set of tits just to show how bad New York is.
Yeah.
Like, it's not super.
Again, that wasn't part of the movie. That was just happening while they were filming.
There was just a sexual assault, and then John Carpenter just like, start rolling, keep rolling.
Just keep rolling, keep rolling.
I don't know why he had a 1910 movie camera. But
that explains the sound quality. Okay,
but like, there's not like a ton of blood. There's some explosions. There's.
I think the most blood you see on Adrienne Barbeau there when she gets run over.
Yeah,
I think that was as I said, the movie's whole budget for blood.
I think it was, because even when fucking the main villain Isaac Hayes gets shot, even like
you don't really see it. To be fair, the movie is dark, and I don't mean in tone. I mean in lighting.
Yeah, no, it's like it's a quiet movie too. We had to watch with subtitles. Clayton demanded subtitles, and I was like, okay, fine.
Well, the fact that Snake talks at the lowest tone possible, you can't fucking hear him most of the time.
President of what? It's like he's trying to ASMR you to death.
It's Plissken.
Call me. The name's Snake.
Call me Snake.
Like he's so. Like, you cannot. A lot of people are just murmuring. The music is really fucking loud. It's good fucking music.
It's good music, and I'm not complaining about that.
I love John Carpenter's scores, but it's really fucking loud music.
Final thought on New York.
New York.
Not on the movie, just on New York.
I was gonna say something racist, but I forgot we're on video. Let's move. So, say something
like that's never stopped you before.
Sarcastically racist.
Anyways, moving on.
Anyways, I think we both kind of love the movie for some.
Oh yeah,
like,
this is a fucking classic. I could watch this over and over
again. Oh god, no, I have too. The reason I didn't even recently buy it until Blu-ray until quite recently, and
literally for this review.
No.
Oh, okay.
That was Escape from LA.
Oh, okay.
I've owned Escape from New York for a few years now, but. Because I watched the movie when I was like 15, 16 the first time, and then I was like, I should probably stop pirating this. I'd like to have a physical copy.
Pirating? What are you? We're good law-abiding citizens, Taylor. What are you talking about with this?
I snuck in with to the theater back. I took a time machine, and then I videotaped it with my old-timey video camera. I borrowed it from John Carpenter. He said it was okay as long as I used that thing, because technically it's the same movie. But no, I think I agree. We both love the movie.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It is an eternal classic.
It is 100%.
I don't think there's any. I don't think we really need to say.
But that brings us to the next topic.
But I'd like to be formal about this. I don't think it needs to be said, but would you recommend it?
Of course. Oh, yes. 100% I would recommend this.
I would recommend this to everybody.
I insist that people watch this.
It insists upon itself.
Yes. It insists upon. What does that mean? That brings us to the second half.
I was going to say, as to a film that doesn't insist upon itself, or maybe does, I don't know.
It insists upon itself, but we don't insist upon it.
No, that's a good fucking term. I don't know what camera I'm pointing at.
It's a good fucking term. LA, I don't even know where to start with this one.
No,
we have learned one thing.
Yeah.
Is that they just took the list of story beats and everything and said, do it again.
Literally, I mean...
There's so many parts that were just a case of, like, this happened, and, okay, now let's put it in LA. It happened again, just a bit differently.
Like, a little bit differently, like in...
Give it a different skin.
Like yeah, that's basically, it's the same movie but different skin, but in terms of, like, to give it, like, a little bit of background context, like, it was, like, 11 years. It takes place, like, 13, 17 years later.
It's like 2000 and what?
2013.
So 2013.
So like 16 years.
Yeah, 16 years
later.
Man hasn't aged a day, I
No,
should say.
in real life it was 11 years.
Yeah.
Because I think the idea was that John Carpenter and Kurt Russell just wanted to make another Snake movie because they're both good friends.
Hey,
and they're both acting colleagues. Yeah, no.
I can give them points for that. That's not bad.
At that point, it was already a cult classic with a big following.
As if we don't want to do the same thing. I mean.
Yeah. But they wanted to do another Snake movie, so then they came with it, and someone else wrote the film with them. Kurt Russell was a producer and a writer, presumably because he came on from the start. It feels like they should just have the exact same credits as the first one, almost.
No Dick Warlock, though. Dick Warlock. What the hell? I've seen that name in a meme.
Okay, that's fucking great. I'm looking for Dick Warlock.
Yeah, we gotta keep an eye out for Dick.
No Dick Warlock. We're disappointed about the lack of Dick Warlock.
They did have a song from Rob Zombie. I'm in for that.
This is actually no. Here's the best way to put it. You know, like in like online games like Overwatch or whatever, they have like theme character skins. This is the '90s themed Escape from New York skin.
Basically, yeah.
It is so fucking 90s. So instead of New York, there was an earthquake in LA, and it sort of cut off the like that little bit of the area.
Did they? I thought, from what I was saying, I thought it literally like erect things, and then they personally cut it off so it could be used. As such.
It was the it was an earthquake.
Oh, the earthquake did it itself.
It was like the big one they called it, and it severed it from the island. And then they started putting. It was like a religious fundamentalist president who.
Oh God.
He basically went full Palpatine. He's like, no, swore himself in for office, and he started like we joked actually that it was the this is what led to Starship Troopers. I think this might have lead to Warhammer 40K actually, Cleric Sergeant.
Oh, did you say Cleric Sergeant?
Yeah.
Oh, that could be a thing then, yeah.
They've effective,
Because Warhammer 40K is very militaristic, but also religious.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that makes sense. But, yeah, Warhammer 40K, like, it fits perfectly. Have a religious leader to see as a god and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's a weird direction to take.
Except for the fact that the ending kind of negates that mindset.
Oh, yeah.
We will get to that in a moment.
We'll get to the ending. But yeah, no, like you said, it is the exact same movie, almost beat for beat. There's a couple extra parts.
There's a point at which, in New York, where he gets shot by a crossbow bolt in the leg. There's exactly a point.
It's at the end of the second act, when things are at the lowest. He's just been captured by the enemy, and he's been shot in the leg. And then Escape from LA, he gets shot with a gun.
By Steve Buscemi.
And he's been, I think...
Bigger name cast in this one.
It was Bruce Campbell, Steve Buscemi, Peter Fonda. I'm trying to look over here. Who else was big? I'm trying to think.
Oh, it was the fucking guy, the military guy.
Oh, Stacy Keach.
Stacy Keach, yeah.
No, he was good. And then the guy who played Uncle Ben in the...
Oh, yeah, he's the president.
Yeah, Clayton was like, who the fuck...
He has a fucking punchable face in that role. In that role, I don't see it most of the time, except for the one time where he's super smug, like... And he's like...
With the bigger cast, like the bigger spectacle, too. I'm trying to, like, get my words together.
Apparently.
Escape from LA is a hard movie to explain. Like, there's a lot... First off, there's more action scenes in the beginning. Like, spread throughout, it's a lot more action-y. It's less a mood piece.
It is straight up an action movie, comparatively.
Yeah,
a goofy action movie.
Yeah, when Escape from New York winks at you behind the eye patch, this time occasionally it lifts up the eye patch to go,
I think my thing was going like...
Yeah, it's winking back.
Winking with both eyes.
And then near the end, especially, just takes off the eye patch and it just starts...
Hey?
And just
Are you getting it yet?
Just aggressively winking at you like, this is a goofy comedy movie. Do you get what I'm saying, my fellow kids? Like, it's such a... Like, there's more explosions and terrible CGI, and there's a hang glider, and there's
surfing.
There's the surfing scene. Everyone knows the surfing scene.
Everyone knows the surfing
There's
scene.
the Bangkok Rules scene where everyone loves that scene.
I didn't mind that scene. That's an entertaining scene. That's a good action movie trope right there.
It fits in with Snake's character, but it's the peak of goofy, but taking itself really seriously.
Yeah.
Where Snake
reached a peak Edge in this movie, because Edge, everybody knows 90s is when Edge was created. I'm just going out and saying that.
Either created or refined.
Refined, anyways. But that was the peak. That was the peak time for Edge. And the thing, and I mean, I lived through that, so.
Yeah, I didn't. I'm glad.
This is why I'm as edgy as I am, I suppose. But no, Snake really comes into his own as a pure Edge character. He was more badass in the first one, but he is a peak Edge character in this one.
Like, he wears like a trench coat.
Oh yeah. They make him wear a black trench coat and a black leather.
He wears all black.
He's in LA. How the fuck is he not dying of heat?
To be fair, it mostly takes place at night.
Fair enough.
Actually, I think it all takes place at night. Now that I think
look at that! What a surprise! Again.
There's a little bit of daytime in the first movie. Hey, Clayton, they changed some things. The thing that was supposed to kill him didn't actually kill him in this one.
Yes, that was a thing.
There's like 2 changes. He has less time in Escape from LA, which makes sense, I guess. You gotta ramp up the stakes for the sequel.
Yeah.
And the stakes are higher in general, too, because it's now another like threat. Like, the U.S. is getting invaded by everybody else, like all the brown people.
Because the U.S. is basically going totalitarian and trying to take over the world.
Yeah,
So every little third world country's like, fuck this, let's take them down. Kind of
fuck, it was like Uganda and Brazil are coming from this side.
I can barely feel bad for America in that one.
It's like fucking like the end of World War II when Germany's getting oh my god, there's a fucking the president uses the term final solution at one point, like, just to make sure you know he's the bad guy. But otherwise, it is the exact same movie, but I would say, I think you might agree with me, slightly worse.
I mean, yes, it's obviously worse than New York.
If only for the fact that it looks worse. Like, it's less moody and like visual and more.
It is not a moody visual movie. It is an action set piece. That's what it's meant to be.
My complaint here is that most of the action just isn't that interesting. I'm not inherently opposed to action, but like, it's not. None of it is. Well, not. I wouldn't say none of it. There's a couple of good action scenes, a couple scenes, but I'd say most of it's just kind of boring and meh.
Fair enough.
It doesn't help that like, because Snake Plissken, the thing with Snake, and this is how I see it, is that like he's never gonna lose. Like, you know from the start that he is such an over-the-top, comically badass character. He's never gonna lose.
That's an '80s thing for their heroes, though, is that it's supposed to be like, you know, he's gonna come out on the end. It's just a case of watching to understand how he's gonna come out on the end.
I think there's even less doubt. Like, in this case, it's like a foregone conclusion from the time you see him come in in the first movie with his cool leather jacket and eye patch. You know that he's the badass motherfucker. Oh, yeah. And that he's not gonna lose.
He's gonna fuck shit up.
But oftentimes in those types of movies, like in Commando, we were talking about Commando earlier. It's a great fucking movie.
Is that Kurt Russell?
No, that's Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh, Schwarzenegger, right.
So you know he's never gonna lose in that, right? But in exchange, there's the Alyssa Milano daughter to actually care about. It's like, oh, there's someone who's vulnerable that you can care about, like in RoboCop, which is probably the best action movie of all time. That's my opinion.
Putting in a separate direction on that they kind of go a bit differently with him. Snake runs across lots of different people that are killable. Yeah, they die.
They all die. Every single time they all fucking die without fail.
Snake is so badass, he just walks across the corpses to get to his objective.
And he doesn't care. There's no like.
No, of course not.
We don't really care about the characters either, because we don't know. Like, most of them are jackasses.
Yeah.
A lot of them are assholes or jackasses.
I felt bad for the Spanish chick. I mean,
she seemed nice.
I think she was honestly just trying to do her best there, and then, of course, the most well-timed fucking comedic moment ever. Do you want to describe it?
Boy, you know what? I think the city's okay after all. Ah!
No, it's just like, you know, once you figure things out, the city's not so bad after all. Bang!
Immediately.
And shot in the back immediately after she finished.
Perfect comedic timing. It was amazing. Also, she really wanted to fuck Snake.
The sexual tension was fucking intense.
I would say from her side.
From her side only. Snake is just an icon of manliness.
Snake is like the character that ripped him off. Snake from Metal Gear Solid, where he's like vaguely autistic and doesn't know how to deal with women. Where he's just like, I'm action hero man. I don't know what women are. I don't know these things.
I don't have time for women.
I don't have time for women. I don't know. And like Cabby in the first movie, he was okay. He was alright.
Fucking Borgnine, yeah. He was good.
But like,
but fucking Buscemi.
Oh god, fucking Steve Buscemi.
Okay, the way the brain flip-flopped back and forth in the first one, that's what Buscemi did in this one.
Yeah, where he's like, and you never trust him, even up until the end. You do not trust him.
That's okay, because at the end he gets left behind.
Yeah,
that's fine.
And presumably he got murdered by
more than likely
all of fake Che Guevara's.
Yeah.
Because that's the villain in this one is instead of
fucking what is his name? Cuervo.
Yeah, Jose Cuervo.
We'll just call him Jose Cuervo.
I don't remember.
It's Cuervo something, Cuervo Jones or something like that.
I think that's actually.
Is it actually Cuervo Jones?
Cuervo Jones?
What kind of name is Cuervo Jones? I'm sorry.
You're a white guy who was named because they were Spanish-aboos? I don't know. I don't fucking know. But instead of being like the cool Duke of New York, he's Che Guevara. I think the funniest scene, and possibly the funniest scene in the film, I'd like to point this out, is when you first see Che Guevara, it's like, here's a little VR simulation that the president's daughter, because that's the person that he sent in to collect, had, and it's fake Che Guevara, and he has like a toy dove.
You made tapes of her VR experiences and then tried to erase them, but she missed one 5-second image. You ran a data scan and found this fragment on the end of her laptop.
Which, I almost wonder if that's intentional. It might be, because in like any other sort of film, like a director would be like, oh, let's cut before it falls down, or like throw it high enough that it's not gonna immediately come. It just, like it's, like what the fuck?
It was, as annoying as Buscemi's character was, he was also one of the more entertaining ones too, because
he wasn't like over.
Because I don't mind Buscemi as an actor. He's actually pretty entertaining. He's a bit of a goofball himself, so I mean, you look like that, you kind of have to be.
He's not like a super over the top sort of like, oh my, I'm super wacky sort of character actor.
He's more of the kind I don't ever shut up.
But I said he's like the Jar Jar Binks of this movie, but not as terrible. I think that's accurate.
Fair enough.
To get sort of back to where the conversation led, I think that's one of the issues of the action is that you know that there's no issue.
That's fair.
Because you don't.
It's action for action's sake,
Yeah.
and not really much else. It's fluff.
It's not even like, I don't think it's especially like well-directed action. I like the scene in the beginning when he first sees Che Guevara, and he's like chasing after him, and he's on a horse briefly, and then, like, that's not bad.
Yeah, there's motorcycles, and there's just this one guy on a horse.
Yeah, I don't, for no discernible reason. But
Let's get to the ending.
Yeah, oh yeah, the ending is the best
because
part.
allow me.
Please.
So, in New York, he switches out a tape for the president's important tape, which could cause, has plans for all sorts of nasty ways to kill people.
Well, presumably it's gonna, because it seems
and
like
yes, it's old enough. It's a cassette tape.
Theoretically, it seems like the idea is that that's gonna like somehow end the war. Like the summit meeting is like, okay, that's gonna talk things down. Maybe it is because it's like, oh, we've got this dangerous weapon that we're gonna explain how it works.
Yeah.
Maybe that's how it is. I don't know.
And in that case, there, Snake mixes, puts it with a
music
switches
tape?
it with a music tape there,
That's fun.
and wanders off into the sunset. No sunset really, but anyways, in this one, he actually pulls a good trick play on them because in the beginning, he actually tried to get at the people who were getting him ready to go there
His
a couple
briefing
times,
team.
and they kept hiding behind a hologram.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Holographic
VR
version,
stuff
yeah.
sort of scattered in there. It's not like a main sort of thing, but it's a little bit.
But they give him a little thing, like a little holographic projector to fuck with people, to fool people. And it isn't used until the end of the movie.
It's Chekhov's gun. It's perfect.
Where it's literally a case of like he's gonna explode and die in the helicopter as it goes down. Fucking, he goes down, he comes out there, and they got guns on him and everything, and it's like, oh, give us this stuff, and finds the president's daughter who has the fake thing in it.
He threw out the helicopter, serve as like a distraction, so it's like, oh, I'll put the fake thing on her.
Well, no, he gave it to her, and she threw her out of the...
Yeah. So that way they see her and they're like, oh, that's the real one. He threw it out so that
Do you think we wouldn't catch her kind of thing?
they think that you're getting predictable, Snake. You did the same thing as in the last movie. That's the other thing is people seem to like know this is a sequel. This is like subtly meta. Especially Snake seems to know like, oh, not this shit again.
But where was I going? But the thing is that it's like, okay, it was all bullshit. You don't get nothing more than a bad cold kind of thing. It wasn't actually a nasty virus killing you.
Disease. It wasn't that. Yeah, it wasn't. Anything.
And of course they double cross him. The president double crosses him, and it's like, okay, shoot him.
Yeah.
And of course we see a scene of all of them shooting. We don't see anything on Snake.
Yeah.
Which is nicely done. And we look back to Snake saying there.
fine.
Oh, I know. We see what's his name, Keech.
Yeah.
And Keech is just like,
What the fuck? Like, why is he still okay?
and and they taunted him in the beginning. It's like, I don't know if he's going to be able to handle things if he doesn't understand how this hologram works. And then they just somehow forget how holograms work, and that it's a possibility.
Like, they don't consider the idea that, oh, he might use this against us.
Yeah, exactly.
To be fair, earlier in the movie, he did say, because he lost his jacket and presumably it was in the coat pocket, he does say, I lost this in the hologram thing. So
true.
They probably thought, oh, he lost it.
There is that, yeah.
It's out of the possibility.
So of course they notice he's there. And it basically says, okay, you know what, I'm pressing this button, and we're going to go back to Stone Age.
Because the superpower weapon that the U.S. has it's basically like a giant EMP, but like it can be super broad or super direct. And yeah, he goes the full world. He knocks the entire fucking world out. And of course the code for knocking the whole world on the device is 666. Very goofy.
Mr. Fundamentalist over there.
Interesting choice. Do you think he'd pick like a relevant Bible passage or something? I don't know.
He understands that it's the evil.
He understands its symbolism for some reason. For some reason, his scientists were like, "Yeah, that's a good idea. Just make a giant."
They probably weren't going to question him.
Yeah.
But no, and then we get the badass thing is like we say, "Welcome to the human race."
Yeah, welcome to the human race.
And then it cuts to black.
It's so.
The ending is the best part of that movie.
It is. But I'd almost say, just watch the ending. But you need, at the very minimum,
you can't watch the ending by itself.
Because you need the whole context. You need everything.
Context.
You need everything in the whole film.
So here's what my thoughts are finally on this.
Okay.
I would suggest watching it, well, at least once.
Okay.
Watch it and get the thing after watching New York.
Yeah.
If you want a bit more taste of
you,
Snake Dick, then you need to go in for the second
Oh yeah,
shot.
if you like, you can't just skip to the other. You have to watch both. Because otherwise you're gonna be terribly confused.
A little bit, yeah.
Mostly because it's like, who's this guy? What? Like
Exactly.
they're clearly referencing all these things. That's like, okay,
They literally tell you who Snake is in the first one, so.
They kind of do in the second one because presumably it's been over a decade, and people might not be familiar, but like, still you're probably gonna be confused because you know it's the second one.
Yeah. And so yeah, I highly suggest. You know what? If you like the first one, watch this one.
Yep.
Go in with an open mind because it's not going to be the first one.
No, it's.
And I suggest. I'm not saying you have. It's a multi-watch.
And is not the first one.
Yeah.
In a contradictory sense.
It's not. It probably isn't worth watching multiple times like New York.
New York is
but it's still worth
intensely
watching.
rewatchable.
Yes. But I'd still say LA is worth watching. Like I said, don't take it seriously. Watch it as a fun, dumb movie.
Yeah, I would. It's 110%. We mentioned this in our watching. It's a schlocky movie.
Very much.
It is a so bad it's good movie because it's so stupid and over the top and ridiculous, and so many terrible moments. And it's like, haha, that's funny. You can have so much fun with all that sort of stuff. And you have a good time. I'd recommend at least either watching it with some booze in you,
Fair enough.
or watching it with a friend or two. Get a group of people together and you can just fucking riff on. That's the perfect atmosphere.
that's the good
That is this
atmosphere for
movie.
it. Yeah. I mean, that can kind of go for New York too. It's still capable of being riffed on. We riffed on it, Taylor.
You can. I think it's.
We riffed on it.
If you're in the right mood for it, because
Yeah.
I think Escape from LA is ridiculous from the outset.
Ridiculous, really ridiculous.
It is 100% ridiculous from the outset.
Redonkulous.
So it's a lot easier to riff on.
Yeah.
And you put yourself in that mood, but if you're watching New York and you're not kind of in that mood already, I think if you're like looking for like the quiet, dour mood piece sort of movie.
Watch the first one.
Yeah.
If you want the fun, dumb action one, watch the second one.
Yeah. But if you're, especially if you're not looking.
Or watch it after New York, because
Yeah.
we've already said you kind of still want to watch New York first.
But if you're like, if you're watching it for a group of friends, I think if
LA is the one to watch.
Yeah, if none of you are in like the mood for it, I wouldn't recommend New York.
No, that's
because
fair.
you have to like be in that or like it's a good second movie and like a movie watching night.
No,
Is you start like a John Carpenter night. You start with Big Trouble in Little China, and then you do the Escape from movies.
That's what I was getting at too. I was saying that before. Is I feel like it would fit from what I know of it. It would fit perfectly in here with it.
Tonally, it fits more with LA, but it's intentionally more like an action comedy.
Yeah.
It's very light in tone.
Taylor's very bothered by the fact that I haven't watched that one.
He hasn't, so at some point we're gonna do that one. Probably the next one or the one after.
And he hasn't watched something too. So we'll make him watch. I'm gonna make him watch something.
Indeed, it's gonna be another action movie crossover, and then after that we'll have to do weepy melodramas in order to balance it.
What are you, Sailor Moon?
No, I don't know what the fuck. I don't know what I'm doing.
It's like by the power of the moon.
Anyways, so yeah, I think we'd both fairly wholeheartedly recommend Escape from LA as well.
Oh yeah, like just take it for what it is. That's all we're really saying.
That is the best way for it.
Yeah.
Even for Escape from New York, take it for what it is, and you'll enjoy it.
Empty your mind and enjoy dumb.
Yeah.
Return to Monkey. Maybe don't go that far.
I wouldn't go that far.
You return to Monkey after watching it.
You need to go to Monkey, and then you need to come back, and then you need to go back to Monkey again.
Return to Crab.
Halfway between Return to Crab.
Return to Crab. Yes.
Well, thank you all very much for watching, and I hope you have yourselves a pleasant Hanukkah.
And a crazy Kwanzaa.
My fellow